This is Jim Moore, Supervisor of Testing for Garrett County. Today's training is for school staff regarding MCAP, Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program. Though under a different name, these are still the same PARCC assessments for this spring that we have given the past 5 years. PARCC will begin April 8th and continue through May 17th for online testing in elementary and middle schools, but April 8th through May 10th for any paper pencil testers. In the high schools, PARCC for online will begin April 23rd and run through May 31st. However, if there is paper pencil testing for PARCC in high school, then the test must be given between April 23rd and May 24th. Principals and or school test coordinators will create a schedule for PARCC that will suit each school, one that works the best during the days of testing. PARCC unit times for the elementary grades are shown for English Language Arts and Math. The most units that can be completed by students in one day are 2 units. Schedule per school will be created by the principal and or school test coordinator. Grantsville and Route 40 schools will have an extra ELA unit at every grade level to complete this year, a Unit 4 field test. This is year 4 of 4 for field test items. Middle school and high school PARCC unit times are shown. Each subject area comprises of 3 unit sessions. Like elementary, 2 units per day are the most that can be completed. The principal and or school test coordinator will create schedules per schools. Southern Middle and Southern High will have an extra ELA unit to complete this year, a Unit 4 field test. In the past, there have been some issues with test times during administration. For PARCC, the entire amount of time must be given for each unit as long as there are still students working, which includes extended time for students with IEP 504 plans. If everyone in the session has completed the unit before the amount of time is up, then and only then can the testing stop early. Shown on the screen is the cover of a PARCC Test Administrator Manual. The Test Administrator Manual is set up as grades 3 through high school computer-based with ELA and math in the same manual. You will have to make sure you are in the appropriate subject and test administration when given the test. There is a separate grade 3 through high school paper pencil based manual for ELA and math. PARCC test directions that teachers give to students are scripted. In a rectangular box with the word "say" in it is what the teacher test examiner needs to read to the students. All the other print not in the box is information for the test examiner, but not read aloud to the students. Thus, everything is scripted. Test examiners cannot stray from the script. The TestNav app on the left side of the screen will be used for PARCC testing. With the app, there are no more Java and Flash issues with testing as in the past. IT will or already has pushed out the app to the PC desktops, laptops, Chromebooks, and Mac computers. For PCs and Macs, students will log onto the computers with their own login accounts given to them by the schools. Once the student logs into the computer, the TestNav app will appear on the desktop. The student will simply click on the app and the test login screen will appear like the one on the right side of the screen. For Chromebooks, there is no student login for the computer. The app is in the lower left corner. Click on the app and the test login screen will appear like the one on the screen. From here, students will log into the test using a student testing ticket. On the screen is an example of a student testing ticket, or sometimes referred to as student authorization tickets. Each student taking a computer test will be given this paper ticket. Once the TestNav appears on the screen, the test examiner, through the use of the test manual, will direct students to type in the username and password. This will enable the student to log into the test that is specifically for him or her. Seal codes are no longer used for PARCC online testing. A new process was introduced 2 years ago. Testing units will be unlocked in the Students in Session area in Pearson Access Next at the time of testing. Your school test coordinators will unlock or lock units at the unit level. School test coordinators may also unlock or lock individual units for appropriate students for makeups. Only one unit can be unlocked at a time for a student. Thus, there is no way a test examiner can move on to the next unit accidentally. If 2 units for the same students are being given in the morning, after the first unit, a short 10 to 15 minute break needs to take place so the school test coordinator can lock the first unit and unlock the second unit for the next portion of testing. In this view, you can see inside the red circle the locking mechanism that the school test coordinator will have to do. This Algebra 2 example shows that all 3 sections are locked at this present time. The school test coordinator will unlock a unit by sliding the bar. Hopefully, this eliminates confusion for the test examiners as to when to stop, but will add more pressure to test coordinators. Again, this year, this process will be used for PARCC. For each test, whether it's a MISA Science, HSA, or PARCC, besides the actual testing times, other time needs to be allotted for preparation, distributing of materials, for example, student test tickets, logging into computers, collecting materials, and closing units or sessions at the end of testing. This is an example, and a pretty good one too, for how the PARCC assessments may work. There are 4 key terms to keep in mind for PARCC testing. PARCC only has one administration, and that is at the end of the year, or in high school's block schedule, the end of the semester. Sessions are either ELA or math at each grade level. Units are the timed portions of the test. Sections are specific portions of the unit. For example, math has a calculator and a non-calculator section. For online testing, the test examiner will receive a test administrator manual, student authorization or testing tickets, and a session roster for students to sign at the end of testing. For paper pencil test, the test examiner will receive a test administrator manual and a student test booklet. There are always test accommodations needed by students for the test. Some of the common ones are scribe, audio or text-to-speech needing headphones, and a human reader. These accommodations are determined by the student's IEP 504 or ELL plan. In the IEP, it is the accommodations in the test accommodation portion, not the supplementary aid portion. For PARCC Math only, non-IEP 504 students may have text-to-speech or human reader under certain circumstances. Obviously, if a student has text-to-speech on the IEP 504, it is allowed for him or her. For students who do not have an IEP 504, text-to-speech has been more defined over the past several years. Though it can be available for all who need it, the state is indicating that if a student gets read to in the class during math testing throughout the year, then the student can have it on PARCC Math. If a student does not get read to in the classroom on a regular basis during math tests, then the student does not need text-to-speech or human reader, and therefore cannot be assigned that for the PARCC Math. The state has indicated that text-to-speech should be used sparingly and only for students who truly need it and get it during regular instruction. This is also the same for other accessibility features like small group testing, frequent breaks, specified area or setting, just to name a few. For all the tests, Pearson will supply the materials on the left of the screen. On the right side, the school must supply. Test administrator manuals will also indicate the materials needed. The biggest thing on the right side is the use of earphones or earbuds. They are needed for all students during the English Language Arts units. They are also needed for students to receive text-to-speech during math. For years during testing, there have been allowable and non-allowable aids. The list of prohibited aids is meant to be instructive and not all-inclusive. Prohibitive aids must be removed or covered up. A rule of thumb: if you think an aid is not going to be allowed, it probably isn't, so cover it up anyhow. This is the list of some prohibited aids, materials, and resources. This list has not changed much over the past several years. Please read and take note of any you may have in the testing environment. Makeups are necessary. For PARCC, makeups can be done out of order. The units may be taken out of order for makeup testing. This rule pertains to both paper and online testing. The school test coordinator will establish the makeup schedules. There are situations that happen during testing that we must stop testing for a bit. Those situations are a student getting sick and vomiting, a student bleeding, and etc. If you have to stop a test, please record the amount of time left in the test session or unit, so when starting back up, you will know how much time to allow students to finish. If a paper test is damaged, please contact the school test coordinator. A new booklet will be given. If it is during computer testing, have students exit the TestNav app. Students will be able to resume from where they left off once up and running again. This irregularity is for paper testing only. If the test booklet is damaged, other than bodily fluid, whether the book gets torn or ripped, you might not have to stop the testing for the entire class. Record how much time is left for that student, get a new book from the school test coordinator, and resume. Test examiners for any of the tests must have a valid MSDE teaching certificate. Here is the list of eligible test examiners. If you do not meet any of the qualifications in the last slide for being a test examiner, then you can be a test proctor. A proctor can help to distribute and collect testing materials within the classroom, circulate and observe during testing, ensuring students are working in the correct section, and ensure that students are using the allowed materials during testing. Here is a list of PARCC resources that you can access online. The PARCC Pearson site has practice tests and manuals, while Maryland's My Pearson Support website has manuals, frequently asked questions, and a PARCC documentation library. This is the end of the assessment training for PARCC. Your school test coordinator will give you 2 forms that you must sign and return to your school test coordinator. The first form is the PARCC Security Agreement for 2019. Signing the form basically indicates that you have had some type of training and that you will administer the PARCC assessments in a professional manner. The second form is the MSDE training form. Your signature on the form means the same as the PARCC Security Agreement. If you have further questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you for your time.